and it's in Jim's incredibly competent, capable hands.
Should we block our videos off?
No, I'll do all that for you.
Okay.
I'm just doing a little preloading here so I can show the screens, and you'll see how the messages of inspiration, hope, and
so when Jim's brings you on, so it'll start at the top of the hour. We go Facebook Live, and Jim will kick off the show. He'll be the only video on, so you'll all be off and muted. And then when he brings on the first speaker, you'll see come up on your screen, host has asked you to turn on your video, and you click that, and then you'll join him, and then he's going to exit stage left, and that's the way we're going to work it.
And then do you guys turn off our video when we're done then too?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure do.
Time, space, and zoom dimension.
Yeah, because the only person speaking will be on the spotlight video, which is where you see Don right now, and their mic will be on. Everybody else's video will be off, and everybody be muted.
Okay.
Sorry, and the introduction part that we sent in, that's not actually going to be mentioned at all. That was just for the website?
Yeah.
Use that on the website, yes. I'll show you where that goes, because otherwise we'd be, we'd run out of time.
Yeah, just curious.
Bye-bye. Kill
Thank
it.
you.
You guys are going to rock.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we got about 4 minutes for, it's 10:54. At 10:58, I'll start cutting off everything. And that's how I become under the spotlight. And that's the way you'll be when your presentation is. And your mic will be on and all that. Yeah, we have a radio show called Your Future Is Now. It's on the TogiNet radio station. We've been on there over a year now, and this time. And before I was on the radio from 2005 to 2014, we had, it took us 46 episodes to get to 2 million downloads.
Wow.
And that's because, look who Don had on there as helping him, That's what I tease him about. But before we were getting up to 2 million downloads a month. We were doing 5 shows a day.
Wow.
And we had quite a following. That was back before a lot of people found out, entrepreneurs found out about how easy it is to advertise on Google. We had a lady promote us, and we also had a top 10 song on our hands. My Name is Freedom, it was called. It was at number 8 on the New Music Weekly charts. And sometimes we only had guests maybe 3 or 4 times out of the month. And sometimes we get bored, and I just tell the producer, let's key in our song. I feel like singing. I'm like Carole King. I feel the earth move under my feet, We had a lot of fun like that. And be sure and blend some humor in with, what we're doing here today. If you feel, some of the topics are kind of serious. I realize that, but, blend in a little humor. And because I always did and always do. 10:56. This hour goes by pretty quickly. So, by the way, if you have to, if you give your presentation, if you have to go, that's not a problem. We understand. So we're recording now. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll kick off the show, and then I'll do a share the screen, and I will show Speakers Pathway Coalition. I'll show you guys how I'll show one example of how your presentation will be listed there and that sort of thing. So.
Where are you from?
I live in Texas.
Okay.
A little town called Brenham. It's about halfway between Houston and Austin. It is known for Bluebell ice cream. When I say that, everybody goes,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Where's everybody else from?
British Columbia, Canada.
Oh, wow.
Who's from Canada?
Canada.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm from Michigan.
Oh, Michigan, Michigander. I'm from Florida.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, we got
We've got it all covered.
Yeah.
And Don, he lives in Colorado Springs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's literally, sometimes in the afternoon, he'll climb the wall in his basement.
I've seen that.
Yeah. He's got the little things there so he can keep his skills honed and all that, since he's a rock climber. But sometimes on the radio, I'll tell people, sometimes during the week, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot get in touch with Don. He's my partner with Speakers Pathway. And I said, it's because that azure blue sky out in Colorado, he likes to go out and get high.
There you
I'm
go.
not making this up. He's a rock climber.
That's great.
But that power of the pause is really important when you want to make a point. Just like I did, because it's kind of like he left you hanging there for a second,
Right.
So you might want to use that in in your presentation or whatever.
I think this will be fun.
Oh, it will be. It will be. Most importantly, think of all the people that you're going to touch and bless in their lives and all that.
Absolutely.
And your presentation will also be on YouTube, so you can upload it from YouTube, and you can also use it in your, be able to use it in your presentations however you want to. A little bit about you, that sort of, because you'll be able to slice and dice, and which is cool.
That high tech stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm still writing with a pencil, so I'm a little low tech.
Well, I tell people I'm a point and shoot kind of a guy. I put my arrow wherever I want and I click on it.
Yeah, right?
Let me mute everybody. We're getting ready to go live here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hmm? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show, The Messages of Inspiration, Hope, and Support. We got three wonderful and beautiful young ladies that's going to be giving us some presentations today on different topics. But first of all, is it okay with you if I share with you about speakerspathway.com and show you where you can find some of the other messages of inspiration, hope, and support? Let me share my screen with you. Okay, here we go. This is the homepage of Speakers Pathway. Right at the very top, we have TEDx training. That's free training that Don offers. We have complimentary gifts. Also, the messages of hope, inspiration, hope, and support. And if you click on that button there, see more, it will come up to this page here. You can see we got several speakers there on each page. We've got 4 pages, and we're still adding more. So let's click on another page here right quickly. And you can click on any, let me click on Judy here since I'm here. And if Julie was live, it'd show up right there, but she's not. But here is her recorded message. It's also available on YouTube, and you can read a little bit about Julie right there. So all of our presentations and the presenters, the speakers, they will be listed here at speakerspathway.com. In addition to that, I mentioned complimentary gifts. We have several of them there from our executive training directors. These are free gifts, so please come and dine and just feed your needs. Also, I got to mention Don's 5 simple steps of a kick butt TED Talk. So all of these things are free. They're there to help you in your hour of need. They're there to encourage you, and most importantly, please take advantage of them and share with someone else that you might know that might could use them. Our first speaker today is Christy Leinbaugh, and she's going to be speaking to us today about choosing peace when fear is served. And Christy, let me cut your camera on, please, and let me turn your microphone on and bring you on board. Are you there, please? There she is. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Fine. Let me give you the spotlight, and let me cut off my video and my microphone, and the stage is yours.
Well, thank you. And thank you guys so much for this opportunity. And this is wonderful what you've been doing to allow people to share their hope and their experience and their strength with everybody in this time right now is very difficult. So I just wanted to start off with a little story. I I had heard this story not too long ago, and it really made an impact on me. It was about a man who he was stranded on a desert island, and every day he would go down to the beach and he would pray, please God, rescue me, rescue me. And so he was there for weeks on end, and he decided, well, I'm just going to have to do the best that I can. And so he built a hut, and he just started to live there, but he still prayed, please God, save me. And so one day he went out to gather fruit and nuts, and all of a sudden his hut caught on fire. So as he sat there and he watched it burn, he thought, oh my gosh, he said, now one more thing. And when I thought I had kind of a semblance of a life, now my hut's on fire. And he goes down to the beachfront to throw himself into the ocean and to end it all. And as he's walking down to the water, he sees a boat approaching. And so with joy, he jumps on and they rescue him. And as he's sitting there, he said, how did you find me? And they said, well, we saw the smoke from your fire. And that's kind of how life is, right? For my life has been that way anyway. In 2014, I had a life-changing experience. I am a co-owner. I was a co-owner of a restaurant for over 20 years. And in 2014, September, I got back from a couple of months of touring. We were teaching chefs, so we'd go to Michigan, Ohio, and we would sell seasoned olive oil that my business partner had created, and we would stay gone for a couple of months at a time and close the restaurant. Well, we came back to the restaurant and it had been destroyed. And when I mean destroyed, I mean completely destroyed. And so suddenly our life went from working 7 days a week to, okay, count them, 7 to 2. We went to working 2 days a week because we would sell our seasoned olive oil on the weekend. And so suddenly here, a life that I had lived for over 20 years and thought that was just going to keep going was suddenly gone. And all the things that were associated with having a restaurant, you know, all the bills that would come in, all the mortgage, everything was still there, but the restaurant was gone, so there was no income from that. And all that we had was our oils that we sold at festivals and art shows. And suddenly we had now just nothing. And I remember sitting there and the devastation of it all kind of starting to come around down upon us, and everything starting to fall in and cave in, and life completely, it really looked like it was destroyed. And I remember I was sitting there and I would say, I'm going to have coffee with Jesus, but it was more like, I'm going to have coffee with Jesus, help me. You know, it was more like a begging. It was not really a coffee with Jesus where we're sitting and visiting. It was more of a devastation of, you got to help me. And I remember that time in my life, now that I look back on it, it was so scary to go through and so devastating. But every day there were little miracles along the way. And every day we would wake up and it was another miracle had happened. You know, someone had come into our life that gave us a blessing that day. And it eventually turned into, the fear and the panic was still there, but it came into, one day I realized, God, I guess I'm just going to have to trust you. And I remember thinking how funny that sounded of, I guess I'm going to have to trust you, God. Well, like if you're going to have to trust somebody, I'd say God's probably a pretty good one to trust. And so it really turned into more of a time of looking for miracles. And so I started playing a little game with God, and I would say, God, show me today your blessings. Show me so that I can see in real life, in real time, that you're there, that you're here for me, and that you haven't left me. And so I would start praying. I'd say, send me a sign. And so I would say, send me butterflies. And so that, you know, I would see butterflies. And so I started doing this every day, and I started making them harder and harder, because it's like human nature, right? We're like, oh, that butterfly was probably going to be flying by anyway. And so I started making them harder and harder. And so I remember we had gone on the road because we were selling our oils. And so we were in Michigan, and we were getting ready to go into this store. And I had said to Miriam, my business partner, I said, okay, God's going to show us pink butterflies today. And she says, okay. And she told me later, she thought, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I mean, okay, God's sending you butterflies, but pink butterflies. And, but she didn't say anything. She was really good because she knew that that was like my way of getting through to be able to survive, of looking for these miracles. And so about 15 minutes later, we go into the store to get Starbucks. It's a grocery store that had Starbucks. And we walked in the front door. And we walked over, and we were going over to the Starbucks, and I looked up, and there was this balloon, and it was a pink butterfly balloon, and it was huge, and it was just floating there. And I started laughing, and I looked at it, and I was like, thank you, God. That is so awesome. I can't believe it was so quick. You show me that you were there. You hear me. You know, you're sending the answer when I've hardly even spoken it out and spoken the question. And so as I'm staring there looking at the balloon, it was kind of floating around a little bit, and I'm watching it float, and my eye just kind of followed it. And as I was looking a little bit longer, I realized that there was a tree. There was a fake tree they had in the floral department, and had all the little, you know, those little tiny balloons that are gifts that have chocolate hearts and stuff like that in there. And I looked up at the tree, and the tree was white. And in that tree, they had clipped, I don't know how many, it was probably 50 or more pink butterflies, and they were all clipped to this white tree. And I just remember there, standing there just in awe of God's graciousness, that even though that was something that seemed so silly and so kind of even ridiculous, if you want to look at it that way, that God really knocked himself out just to show me how good he is, and that we're never alone, and that he always hears us. And so as we went on, you know, it took several years to really be able to walk out on the other side of that, and knowing that, you know, every day there were miracles, that we were never, God never left us alone. And every time we had the opportunity, we were served fear so many times, you know, so many times things came against us that it was totally impossible. I mean, not even just kind of impossible, or it might work out, but it was there's no way on earth, which is true, it wasn't on earth. There is no way in the world that this is going to work out. And we would just sit back and go, okay, God, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to love to see how you're going to work this one out. And he would work things out that literally, it wasn't even in the nick of time. It was at the perfect time. And it was just one thing after the other, after the other. And so as we went through that in that time, you know, we got more secure and more trusting. And so it was like every time God would ask us to believe him and to come with him, you know, it got easier and easier. And it wasn't that we weren't afraid, but it was every step got a little bit easier. And so as time went by, and we started to learn to trust him more, and we got more relaxed, we started having new experiences and new ways of trusting God. It was like our business really started to flourish. And so we were able to really walk away from 7 days to 2 days and selling our seasoned oils. And we were in a place where we were like, wow, this is great, and it's working really well. And God's really rocking it, and getting, you know, wonderful shows and wonderful orders, and everything was wonderful. And then COVID-19 popped up, and all of our shows got canceled overnight, literally. And so something that here we were going, you know, gung-ho, gangbusters, and now all of a sudden we had 0 shows, no way to travel and to sell our oils. And the most amazing thing happened was there was no fear this time. There was no panic. There was no gut-wrenching laying on the couch, curled up with your insides feeling like you've got rocks in them because you're so full of fear. There was no more of that staying up all night because there's no way out. There was none of that anymore. There was simply peace. And every time we would get a cancellation from a show, we'd say, thank you, God. We know that you're faithful, and your grace is enough. And we know that everything is always working out for us. And it was really just one of those things that really, once I got quiet and I started listening, I started seeing more opportunities and more things to come about. It's really taking that moment to bring peace, and to not allow to be to eat that fear that's served to you. And it is a choice. And I just thank God every day that even when fear is served now, I don't have to take as big a helping of it. I can say, oh, yeah, I remember how that tastes. Now I can scrape that off my plate. And, before I would be served fear, and could be in the middle of a whole plate of fear before I'd realize, wow, hey, I don't have to eat all this, and scrape it off my plate. But I would try to pile like joy and thanksgiving on top of that fear. But sometimes, as you know, when you scrape off your dinner and you put your dessert on there, sometimes you still taste a little bit of your dinner if you're eating on the same plate. And so I got to the point where I would eventually, and I don't do it every time, I still sometimes find myself eating a plate of fear, but they're much smaller plates, more like an appetizer plate or a dessert dish. But now I can say, wow, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's really nothing to be afraid of at all. And knowing that really God has the answer coming up the side of the mountain when you're still on the other side climbing and you're exhausted, that he's got the answer there for you. And I would just encourage people listening to this, or if people are hearing it, that to know everything is always working out for you. Everything that you have gone through in the past is going to be used in the future. And this time now is a hard time for a lot of people who have never been through something as devastating as losing a business or suddenly having no job. There's a lot of people who have never had to go through that before, and this is a super scary time for them. And so my hope and my prayer is that people will be able to really gain compassion from this experience and some empathy to know that, maybe they had a thriving business and now suddenly it's gone. For them to have that peace, but also that empathy and compassion to know that there's people out there every day that are hurting, that are suffering, and that are having to try to scrounge around to make their day, to feed themselves and their families. So my hope and my prayer is that we all come out of this much more compassionate, more understanding, that really, when you think you've got it all under control, people are really just a heartbeat away from their lives being changed in an instant. And once you've gone through something so devastating, you'll be surprised that, when something else comes up, your reaction is totally different. I'm able to spend my time now learning new skills. God has been very gracious. We've gotten wonderful internet orders. Every day we get orders coming in, and he's really been faithful to provide us with that. And I am so grateful for that, and for all of our customers checking on us. And really, I just want to say, if you find yourself right now that your HUD is on fire, that everything that you think you've worked for and you've really fought for in your life, you see it go up in smoke, know that help is on the way. It's not the end. It's probably the beginning. And so I would just encourage you to take some time to make a conscious effort and a conscious decision to spend some time in peace, and to give your mind and your heart some time to hear from God, to let you know that it's okay and help is on the way. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate this time to share with you my story.
Wow, that's a pretty interesting story you shared with us. And you're going to reach a lot of people, because it doesn't matter whether or not you've been in business or you've just been an employee and had a job. If your income is cut off, the pressure is the same. I mean, that closed in, feeling that you feel. And of course, Bill Heinrich, one of our executive training directors, talks about there's two major emotions. There's fear and there's love. And fear we got down pat, because that's limited to the physical. And that's because that's the world we live in. If we can just ignore the fear and get out of the physical and get into the spirit and live in love, everything else will take care of itself. And it really is an inspiring message. And I want to thank you so much for sharing that with us today. It was quite an interesting story. And I mean, you're going to bless a lot of people because they can relate to you.
Thank you so much.
That's what a message is all about. And that's why we do what we do. Thank you so much, Christy.
Thank you.
You bet. Let me cut your camera off there and mute you. And I got to take care of a little business here right quick. Let's see here. There we go. Got to push all these buttons. When I'm on the radio, it's doing our radio show, I really appreciate Ben and all the work he does behind the scene. Ben is our producer. Also, too, we're affiliated with ntevents.net. Stands for Network Together Events.net. They're out in Phoenix, Arizona. They promote businesses. They have a networking company out there. It's not your typical networking that you might think about. It's about neighbor helping neighbor, about business helping business. I mean, they got people from insurance agents to real estate agents, bankers. I mean, people from all walks of life. And they're about networking each other and amongst each other and promoting each other. One of the pillars that they have is speaking. That's where we fit in with them. But also, too, they have a pillar about giving back to the youth. If you'd like to know more about them and what they're doing, and you'd like to be interested in getting a community of that or a chapter of their philosophy going where you live, go to ntevents.net. Check out Robert and Sean Jones. They're great people. They're personal friends of ours, and we highly recommend them. Our next speaker today is going to be Miranda Miller. Miranda, let me cut your camera on there, please. Unmute you. And let me give you the spotlight there, if I may. Oh, okay, there you are. Hi, there you are. How
Perfect.
You doing?
Good. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miranda's going to be talking to us about something very, very serious. Her experience and the family's experience dealing with COVID-19. So let me cut my camera off and mute my mic, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for this time. First, I want to thank you guys for popping on here and giving a few minutes out of your day where you could be choosing to do anything, really, and you chose to be on here, which speaks very highly of you, that you are using this time effectively to steer you in the right direction for where you really want to go. We have a lot of time freedom now kind of put on our hands, and so using that time purposely is going to really help you determine the next season. And so I'm excited to share with you a little bit of my story of COVID-19 that I actually walked through. And so I want to kind of fill you guys in because there's a lot of fear as I'm following up on Christy around the whole virus. And she did a fantastic job touching on businesses and the financial side. So we've got fear kind of approaching us from many different angles right now. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story, but I want to give you a backdrop of who I am. So I am certified as a health and life coach. I've been working with clients for a long time. I've been in the health and wellness industry for well over 10 years. I didn't get here on an easy road. Christy talked a little bit about some of the hard things she went through to get to where she was. I kind of did the same thing. My mom was an amazing mom when I was young, and she was always had a clean home, fresh baked bread, just one of those amazing moms. And by the time I was about 10 or 12, she started having some serious health issues and seizures, different things, body aches. Well, the doctors didn't really know what to do to help her. So they just put her on narcotics. And so as my teenage years, I watched all of a sudden the home I knew begin to shift, and she got very addicted to these narcotics. At the age of 43, she died of a accidental drug overdose. So this is my younger years. So as I get older, and I have 5 kids. And so I knew raising my family, I wanted to take a different approach to health and wellness. I understood the value of the body. And so that got me on my health and wellness journey. And so here I am on a health and wellness journey, pretty good with health. And I'm on a trip with my kids. It was myself and two of my children. In January, we went to Texas. And so we're there in Texas. And Saturday night, I start having this fever, I start having these body aches and then this fever, and it literally kind of hit me fast, really quickly. The body aches were just excruciating. It was tough. It was hard. So if you ever go on vacation, don't know if you guys have done this before, but you kind of let your guard down a little bit, and you might eat too much sugar. You kind of get in that vacation mode. So here I am, a health coach, and I know better. I know how to take care of my body. I totally did not. I just let my guard down. So while I'm there, I catch this virus and I get really sick. And I knew better because I'm like, man, I know I need to take care of myself. I didn't have any of my vitamins. I didn't have anything with me. So I got to a point where my fever got pretty high. This was Saturday. So typically what had happened, and it worked like clockwork when I got it, and then my other kids had gotten it as well. I had, out of my 5 kids, 3 of them got it. And it was kind of clockwork by all of us except for my youngest, because I was home and gave him a lot more vitamins and took care of him the way I should have been. And so it wasn't as bad for him. So my fever got pretty high, and I had to stay on like some Tylenol, some different natural things to keep the fever down, because that was probably the worst part of the virus that I went through. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of disclaimers. One, I'm not a doctor, so I'm just going to give you my experience, what I've suggested to others, vitamins, supplements, things I'm familiar with. I'm just going to kind of tell you what I'm familiar with. And then second of all, when I had this virus, I remember it was the middle of the night. We were about to fly out the next morning, and my fever was the highest. And I Googled on my phone, coronavirus. Like, what are the symptoms? Is this what I'm dealing with? Because it knew it wasn't the flu. I'm like, this isn't like flu. I've had the flu before. I'm like, it was extreme what I was dealing with, a little bit more than usual. I'm like, And so I Googled it on my phone. And at that point, there was nobody here in the US that had actually had it. So I'm like, oh, that can't be what it is. But the worst from that experience was when the fever got the highest. It pushed 104 to 105. The fever lasted for about 3 days. By day 3, it gradually began to drop. Okay. And then I slept a ton. We were so tired. So that was kind of like our symptoms through this. So really what I learned, and this is what Christy did a fantastic job talking about the fire, when you go through different phases of when you're dealing with viruses or colds or even cancer, different things out there, your body has a process. Your body is designed amazing. It's an amazing tool, and it knows how to heal itself. When you give it the right nutrition to heal itself, it's amazing. And because I hadn't been doing that, my body was already working through a lot of the stuff I'd been eating, that it wasn't at its peak performance to really rid the virus. And so it hit me a little bit harder because I was in that vacation mode during this time. So I started to shift, and, I came to the mindset that I knew my body knew what it needed to do. And I kept telling myself that, because it was like day 3. This was Monday night. We were getting ready to fly out on Tuesday to come back home. And we were staying the night at a hotel that was right by the airport. And it was middle of the night, and I was texting my husband, but of course he was sleeping and he was at home. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. Please pray for me. I don't know what's going on. And I took a little bit of Tylenol. I got up in the middle of the night, and I just said, God, please help me. I don't know what's going on. I had my 2 kids there, and I was like, I didn't really want to go into the hospital, but I didn't know what was going on. And so just as Christy talked about finding that place of peace, it's what I did that night. And I just said, God, I need your help. I took some medicine. I said, I know you designed my body in a way that it knows what it needs to do. And I literally called on help that night, and I lay down and I slept like a baby for the couple of hours I had left before I had to fly out. I still had a fever the next day when I flew out, but I kept enough medicine in me to keep the edge off. And by the time I got home, I slept like nonstop for about 24 hours, and then the fever was gone. And from there, it turned into a cough. So pretty much everything they say with coronavirus, it turned into a cough. From that point, I was taking a lot of cough drops, different things like that. I have a couple of tinctures I'll show you that I use. These are herb tinctures. So Mountain Meadow Herbs. Don't know if you ever heard of this company. I am not affiliated with them in any way. I just love it. Works really well. They have an herbal respiratory blend. I'll show it to you guys. And so when the cough started to get to that point, you just put some of this under your tongue, and it's herbs. And so it's not like medicine. You can't overdose on it. It's very natural. And so this really helped keep the cough at bay, so it didn't turn into anything. The other one that we use, so when I got home, I started taking all my stuff I was supposed to be taking. We have an immune booster too that they have. This is their family immune booster. So I just have everybody in my family take some of this. I'm not affiliated to them. My sister actually introduced me to their supplements, and I love them. And so those are just 2 that I have on hand, especially right now with colds, and anytime flu season comes, I use those. And so I processed through it, and I got better. And then my daughter, my son that were with me, they both caught it. They did the exact same thing. They processed through it. They were fine. And then my youngest son, he's typically the other son that got it. He tends to have more of like a respiratory. If something's going to get to him, he gets a cough, that's kind of a harsher cough. So I was a little concerned when he got it. Still at this point, coronavirus was like not even a thing out there at this point. Okay, so keep in mind, this was back in January. So I'm thinking we're like dealing with influenza here. Okay, I had no idea what we're dealing with. And so my youngest son got it, and he tends to get more of that barky cough and like kind of more respiratory stuff. So immediately I started giving him the vitamins right away, because at this point I'm home. He didn't go to school. He was sleeping nonstop. I kept fluids in him. I had him sleep and rest, and then I gave him the immune booster. I kept this in him, and then this respiratory. And guys, I kid you not, he actually recovered from this so much faster. Like in 3 days, by day 4, he was back to normal, bounced out of it, no problem. Whereas for me, it took me about 7 to 10 days because I hadn't been taking care of my health. I was eating foods I shouldn't have. My immunity was just not at its peak performance. So when you really take care of your body and you eat foods that are going to help to serve your body can process through this a lot quicker, and it doesn't turn into anything that's too hard that your body can't handle. So there's a couple things. One is, eat foods that are going to serve you, that are going to help you keep your immunity strong during the season. And I know we're all a little tempted to kind of let our guard down and relax a little bit because we're not doing much. So we tend to couch potato it a little bit, which isn't really the best thing to do when there's colds and viruses going around, even though we're kind of tempted to. So keep that in mind, just to take some vitamins, keep your body kind of at the peak performance that you possibly can. And then the other thing you're dealing with that's attached to this virus is a lot of fear. So not only just as Christy had touched on fear with the financial things, there's fear attached to this virus. I've been getting messages from different people and that are, concerned they've got this or that going on, this fever, this cough, what do I do? And the best thing you can do is find that place of peace within your heart. Call out to the God you serve. Call out and find that place of rest within your very soul during that time. So you've got 2 things that you're kind of working with is your body, but your body knows what it's designed to do. And it's an amazing tool. Your body it's amazing. And it knows how to process a virus. So I'm not a doctor, but I have just researched, the body and how it processes. And really a fever can get up to 107, I think it's 107.3. You guys can, don't take my word for this, but 107.3 before brain damage or anything critical steps in. So even at a fever of 104, 105, it's still, for me, that was like, okay, I still took medicine because it takes the edge off because it was uncomfortable, but it's not damaging you. It wasn't damaging my body in any way. My kids all had the fever 104, 105. I would immediately do what I could to bring it down, some meds, give them in the bath to bring it down. But just finding that place of peace and just saying, okay, give some meds. It usually takes 20, 30 minutes for that to kick in. Because if you let the fear come in, then that's where you start to get like, okay, what do I do? And then you start to get worked up, and then and then you're just kind of like not even thinking logically. So during this season, those are the 2 things that you kind of encounter. And so being home with my family and my husband, we got all this time to kind of think, and we've been talking a lot about this season being home, learning from the last season we just came out of. So here we're kind of in this pause. You kind of just think like a movie, like they hit the pause button on us. And we just came out of this past season. We've been talking about this. What do we need to do differently to better prepare us for the next season? What can we do differently? Where do we need to shore up some things, whether it's in our finances, in our home, in our health? Where do we need to shore up a little bit so that way in the next season we're moving forward and we can actually gain momentum out of this season. So instead of letting the season kind of just this paused season kind of be just kind of like time where we just kind of check out a little bit, take it as like a planning time. Like, okay, talk to your spouse, your husband, wife, whatever, your family, friends, and find out what can I do for my next season to move me further ahead? Where do I want to go with my life? And take this time as like an awesome time to really just reflect, use this time wisely. Don't be careful of wanting to check out on, different social media and TV, because then you don't really use the time that you have. It's a gift of a freeze in time we have right now that God gave us, to where we can actually use it for our advantage to recheck some areas of our life and say, where do I need to shore up some areas? Where did I kind of fall aside and step back a little bit? And really use, Christy mentioned new skills, and find some new skills for the next season to help you. Maybe it's a time of learning some new skills to get you to where you want to go. So take this, that's my action step for you guys, is to take this time, this pause time, and really think about, where do I want to go for the next season? What are some areas, and it takes some honest questions of, what do I need to do differently to get to where I want to go? What have I done well? And different things like that. That way you have kind of a game plan for the next season. And then if you know anyone that's working through this virus or that has a cough, offer them a word of hope. Look, I actually know other people that have had this virus as well and have worked through it just fine, and help them with a word of hope, because fear is one of the hardest things that you do have to deal with this virus. It's fear. There's a lot of fear attached around it. And I don't know how so much fear got around it. I mean, we deal with a lot of viruses all the way from cancers to other diseases. And, you know, there's so many other ailments, but they haven't froze us quite like this one has. So there's a lot of fear around it. So offering this word of hope and encouragement to people, and then do what you can to take care of your body the best. You're never going to be able to perfectly have perfect health. That's just never reality. But, you know, do what you can to boost your immune system. Actually, I'll show you before I close up. I'll wrap with this. This is one thing I do every morning. I've been doing this for a while, except for when I was on vacation, for my husband and myself, and then I'll give the kids a little glass. But I typically, what I'll do is I'll pull this. So this is just a berry blend. Okay. Obviously great value. It's cheap. It's Walmart. It's a berry blend. It's not even organic, if you guys caught that. So right now we're in a season where financially things are a little tight. I didn't buy the organic. I'm okay with that. Like, I would love to, but I got to be practical and real where I'm at. So getting the antioxidants from these berries into our body is really important right now. And so I got this berry blend. I put a little bit in I fill my blender up, and then I'll actually kick on my tea kettle while I'm getting my berry blend mixture in there, just to add some hot water to help it blend up in the mixture. And if you have like a vitamin C, so I just have like a vitamin C. So any kind of like, if you have like any vitamin C immunity thing, you can toss that in there. You're literally taking this berry blend and making this like concoction of this like vitamin C bomb for your immune system. Okay. And so we actually will drink that, and you can put some honey in there, sweeten it up a little bit. But we'll drink a little glass of that like first thing in the morning. And it's like a vitamin C bomb that you get into your body first thing in the morning. If you drink it, like a glass of water when you start in the morning is perfect. Always have a glass of water. You've been fasting for like 12 hours. Your body's had not had any liquid. So have a glass of water first thing. But then drink this too. Before you eat food, it only takes about 40 minutes for it to process through your system, but your body is going to get so much nutrition pulled out of that first thing in the morning. It's really easy. It's really yummy. My kids love that. And so I do that all the time, regardless, when I'm not on vacation. There is times on vacation. I'm a health coach, but yet I'll be honest, I like food. But yeah, first thing in the morning, I like to do that. So that's a little something you guys can start add to your mornings right now. So I encourage you to take the season, pull out of it as best as you can. What do I need to change from last season? Also look at what did I do good? Because, you know, finding what you did do good is always motivating to help you move forward to the next season. And then where do I need to shore up some things? So those are some action steps for you to kind of think about. But again, thank you so much for your time. It was an honor to talk to you guys for this quick little minute to input some life and some hope into you guys. And remember, your body knows what it needs to do. It is designed to handle viruses. It's designed for such a time as this. Your body was made purposely, and it knows how to handle this. Okay. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was an honor to speak with you guys. Thank you.
That was really a wonderful message. I really enjoyed it. And young lady, you were singing my song because due to a situation in my life, I went through about a 10-year study into the world of herbs and natural cures and all that. And I tripped across oxalic acid, and that's in all of our plants and vegetables, and how it attacks abnormal cells. And one of the things that I tell people, if you want some good oxalic acid that will help you, just get parsley, because parsley is one of the highest rated oxalic acid, and put it under your tongue. I love what you said there, because you get it in the bloodstream rather than the gut. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yes. Herbs they're such a big move. It's so big coming up. Like it's so big. They're amazing. I love herbs. That's awesome.
You bet. And I love the fact, the way you point out about how fear is a self-destroyer, because that automatically starts tearing down your natural defenses.
Yeah.
And you're so right, because in the morning, first thing I do, I put my coffee pot on before it perks and all that. But I drink a glass of water, because you've been fasting all night. That's why we call it breakfast, because you break the fast. And it's very important. I read where the Orientals, Chinese, Japanese, they drink a lot of water in the morning, a couple of glasses, stuff like that. And if you want to lose weight, drink water. It's
Yeah.
one of the
Oh,
best
yeah.
things. It really is.
Hmm.
And I tell you, I could just talk to you the rest of the day, but I want to, I want to thank you so much for your message, because you were really, I just listened to you and I thought, oh, what time is that? I got to make sure we don't run out of time and go over.
Thank you. I
But
really
before you
appreciate it.
go, and I got to bring Christy back because I forgot this. Before you go, though, Miranda,
Mhm.
what is your website? And most importantly, people may want to get in touch with you. What is your email address, please?
Yeah, that's a great question. Email me would probably be the best way. You can also find me on social media on Facebook. It's L is in my husband's name is Luther. So him and I are both coaches. So L and the word and A-N-D-M for my name, Miranda. So L and M at Gmail, L and M coaching, I'm sorry, at gmail.com.
L&M coaching at
Yeah.
gmail.com. Good,
Yep.
good,
Yep.
good.
Yep.
And if anybody wants to contact you and ask you some questions, you'll be glad
Sure.
to.
Oh, it'd be an honor.
Oh, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
let me bring back Christy, if Christy's still with us, because I forgot, ladies and gentlemen, since it's Monday, sometimes after a good weekend, I got to be retrained. I forgot to give her a chance to share her email address and all. And I'm going to bring up Christy here in just a moment, if I may. Christy, if you're still with us, please. Let's see if Christy's there.
I am. Yeah. Hey.
Oh, Christy, let me give you the spotlight here. And Miranda, you stay with us if you can. Let me cut
Okay.
you
Yeah, I
off.
will.
Yeah, and thank you again. Really do appreciate you being here. The great, great, great message. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome, Miranda. I really enjoyed it. That was great.
Let me give you the spotlight. I forgot. I mean, forgive me. What is your web address and your website, and also your email address, if you'd like to share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's our Seasoned Olive Oil website, which is vigoacuisine.com. So that's V as in Victor, IGOA cuisine.com. And you could buy the seasoned olive oils for sure, or you could email me at Christy@vigoacuisine.com. And I just love to, in our books as well, and we're just encouraging people, for health and well-being and positivity. So definitely I would love to visit with people.
So Christy, that's Kristi.
Yes.
That's where you spell your first name. And your email again is Christy what?
Christy@vigoacuisine.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, well, good. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry I forgot about that early on, but I wanted to bring you back. I'm glad you're still with us.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give you a chance to share how people could get in touch with you, because I know that you really touched a lot of people's souls today. Christy, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
You bet. We're glad you're here. Let me do a work here, and I've got to bring Minnie on. Let's see. Got to do all this techie stuff here. Usually when I'm on the radio, Ben Orlander does all that work for me. So oops, I hit the wrong button there, which is common for me. There we go. And Mimi, let me give you the spotlight there. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm doing real good. I'm getting used to getting back in the saddle here, But today you're going to be talking to us about bringing ourselves back to our inner guidance system. I want to hear more about that inner guidance system and our inner state of calm. So let me cut off my video here and mute my camera, mute my microphone, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yes, hi, my name is Mimi of Soul Alchemy, and it's such an honor to be part of this encouraging speaker series, and so beautiful of you guys to put that on and share that with everyone. And it's also an honor to follow the last two speakers, Christy and Miranda. And I loved everything they shared, and I really think that I can expand on that, and I agree with them so much that fear can be a choice, and also that our body honestly knows how to take care of ourselves. So I love everything both of you shared. Tiny bit about myself. I am also a health practitioner. I'm a certified body talk practitioner. I use several other energy medicine tools, and overall help people out of a place of stuckness, out of a place of fear, and coming to the inner self and really tapping into their own inner wisdom. So when I'm speaking about the inner guidance system, I'm really talking about our heart-based information. I'm talking about the things that we already know, our inner wisdom, our intuition, whatever you would like to call it. But you don't need to be psychic to have access to your inner intuition. It's really just something that we can all tap into. Fear, however, takes us out of that place. And as we've heard before, fear is quite detrimental to our system. So we are being inundated right now with news, with uncertainty, anxiety around us, and it actually puts us into a place of fight and flight. So that's how our body reacts. Our body doesn't actually distinguish whether there's a predator after us or whether we're perceiving fear from, let's say, news or something our mind is imagining. So this virus is something that we cannot see. It doesn't mean it's not real, but it's something we cannot see, we're perceiving, we're worrying about it, and it puts us in this heightened state. And our brain, the amygdala, takes us out of our state of regeneration, out of a state of growth, and puts us in a place of survival. And that's a very, very practical place to be when you're running away from a fire. It's a very great place to be when you need all your strength to run away from a predator. It's not a great place to be when you depend on your immune system, when you're facing uncertainty and need access to your thinking processes. So the state of fear or fight or flight basically diminishes our body's function. Our heart rate goes up, our breathing becomes shallow, our immune system is driven down, digestive system, and our thinking brain is driven down. So this isn't a sustainable place to be over a long time. So what I would like to share with you today is how to come out of that place of fear. So I want to share a tiny little tool with you and then reconnect to your heart and bring yourself to this place of calm. Because in this place of calm, you also start regenerating. Your immune system gets boosted and your body can actually start taking care of you. And from a place of survival, you can come to a place of growth. And you can make decisions about where you'd actually like to be in this life. It doesn't make the uncertainty in your external circumstances go, but it allows you to even thrive under the circumstances. So instead of sharing a story with you, I want to share this, I want to take you on a little journey and share this tool with you of connecting with your heart. So if you want to bear with me, I want to take you into this place where I'd like you to close your eyes and start connecting to your breath. And just start feeling your breath slowing down. And you take a nice deep breath in and a slow exhale. And when you breathe in, take your breath into the center of your heart. Just feel it land there. Feel your heart expanding with the breath. And at the very top of your breath, I want you to hold your breath for a tiny moment before you exhale, a really long, deep exhale from your heart as well. And just feel your heart expanding when you take the next breath in, and breathe in, like focus on breathing in calm and peace. And when you exhale all the things that are standing in the way of that, like stress, busyness of the mind, outer circumstances. Let it all go for a moment. And when you can feel your breath slowing down, you focus on that heart center. And from that heart center, on the next exhale, I want you to exhale and imagine you bring your breath all the way down through your body through the bottom of your feet, all the way into the earth. And with each exhale, you go deeper, deeper through the earth. Imagine what it feels like. The soil, you're going through rock, you're going through all the different layers, all the way down to the very center of the earth. And if you can, feel that center of the earth. Just imagine what it would feel like if you did. Just use your imagination. And connect to that wisdom, connect to that energy of the earth, and connect to all that's available there for you. And with a nice deep inhale, you're going to slowly bring that up. And you're going to bring that up all the way through all the layers of the earth, through the rock, through the soil, and then draw that up through the bottom of your feet. You're going to bring that energy up through your body and create that flow. And you create that, go up through your legs, all the way to bring that into the center of your heart. And just feel that energy filling your heart. This is yours to draw from all the time, as much as you need. The amount of energy, wisdom, love from the earth that's available to you is infinite. And when you feel that filling up your heart, we're going to go with the next exhale. We're going to go upwards. I'm going to slowly go up through our head, through the crown, up, 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 above, through the sky, and higher, higher up, through the atmosphere, all the way into the center of the universe. And again, if you can't connect with that center of the universe, imagine what it would be like if you did. Just allow your imagination to give you that information. And then you connect with the center of the universe, and from that, you bring down almost like a beam of light, all that's available to you up there. And with the next inhale, you're going to start moving back down and bring that energy down. Create a flow. Down, down through the entire universe, through the atmosphere, down through the sky, through the top of your head into your body, and create a steady flow all the way to the center of your heart. Allow that to fill your heart and make it bigger and bigger, that space. Allow these two energies to mix, that beautiful earth energy, that beautiful universal energy. And from here, we want to expand our breath. The next exhale, grow that space in your heart. Expand your heart space through your entire body. That energy that came in from the earth, that came in from the universe. Allow it to flow through your entire body. Bring it through every cell in your body. Bring that light. Nourish your cells. And when you feel that every part in your body has been filled with that energy, we go beyond our body. We fill out like a bubble of space around us, above us, underneath us, behind us, arm's length. That's your space to take. And you fill that space with all that energy. And that's all yours to fill. When you feel that all that is filled, come back to your heart center. rest there for a moment and just see if there's anything else that you're noticing in your heart. This is where we can receive messages, our inner knowing, what our body needs. And then we come back. We can slowly come back. We can wiggle our toes, wiggle our fingers, and open our eyes. Thank you so much for coming on that journey with me. I hope you could experience some of that calm. And at least what this process does for you, this is something that's yours to use, that it's something you can draw from all the time. The least it can do for you is bring you back to a place of calm and can teach you that this place of calm is a choice that's always available. However, you can take this much, much further, and you can really connect with the wisdom of your heart and start listening to your own inner voice. We are being overwhelmed with information right now. A lot of fear-based information from all directions, and it's so hard to know sometimes what is true, what's true for us. And when we connect with our heart, it really helps us with the process of discerning, of finding that authentic space for us, what is true and what's not, and what's misleading. So yeah, I hope this helped you a little bit, coming back to yourself. And thank you so much for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Mimi. Really appreciate that. It really made an impression on me. It reminded me a couple of times in my life that when I've been trying to go to sleep at night, I remember two particular incidences. One time I was just aggravated. You know, I just kind of felt like a rag doll in the mouth of a dog. My day had went that bad, you know. And then the other time I went to bed and I just, wasn't sleepy. And both times I did the same thing. And I just started, thanking the Creator for whatever popped in my mind. I thanked Him for my health naturally, my home, food, clothes, income, that sort of thing. I thanked Him for my dogs. I mean, I got so nutsy. I even thanked Him for my chainsaw for cranking. Because one time I had a chainsaw and I had it worked on several times. I finally got rid of it. It was so horrible trying to crank that thing. By the time you got it cranked, you were already worn out and didn't feel like working, So when I said, thank you for my chainsaw crank today, and I was able to go out and cut some firewood, I mean, that was my point. I was thanking the Creator for every little thing that popped in my mind. And my point being in sharing that is that two things happen. Number one, I never, ever, ever finished running out of things to thank Him for. And number two, I didn't finish it because I drifted off to sleep. And it's really important for us to get that inner calm, because we all need that. Just take a deep breath and relax. I like that. Before you go, and before I bring the other ladies on, I want to personally thank them again. What is your website, and how can people get in touch with you so they can say, tell me more?
I think the easiest way would be email. So you can email me at mimibodytalk@gmail.com.
Would you repeat that again?
mimibodytalk@gmail.com. All one word, just Mimi, M-I-M-I, and body talk, the modality that I practice.
Good. I'm trying to cut everyone's camera on there and unmute everyone because did I do Miranda? Did I unmute her?
Come on. Yep.
Good. I just want to thank all three of you today for being on the show. And again, ladies and gentlemen, all three of these wonderful ladies, their messages will be at speakerspathway.com. Again, let me just share my screen if I may and show you very quickly where that will be. You just simply go to speakerspathway.com like you see it right here. And you scroll down here, you'll see messages of inspiration. I got all these things here in the way. Messages of inspiration, hope, and support. And if you click on those, you'll actually see the individuals listed there. And there's one gentleman I wanted to click on here, Karan Nijawan. Karan, he gave a great presentation about how to put on, webinars, virtual webinars. He calls them networking dinners. You may have a networking lunch or breakfast, brunch time or something like that. He gave some great pointers. And I just wanted to share that with everyone today because he just did a fantastic job of it. Gave me some good pointers too. And I wanted to share that because a lot of people are having to do stuff now virtually. And this is a little bit about Karan. Be sure and say hello to him. He's a great guy. But again, we're almost out of time. I just want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. Be sure and get in touch with Miranda and Christy and Mimi because they did a fantastic job. I'm Jim Grant. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow's guest will be Matthew Corbin, Nancy Albright, and Odell Remmert. I'm Jim Grant. Thank you again. Please visit speakerspathway.com and be sure and get in touch with these three beautiful ladies. Have a wonderful day and thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.